Thank you for joining Effortless Attraction. My name is Evelyn McAleer. I'm the author of A Life You Want, Effortless, and The Woman's Journey. I'm a life coach, business mentor, and inspirational speaker. And my greatest value is making a difference in people's lives. So I hope through these podcasts, I can make a difference to your life. Thank you, everyone who can join us today on our podcast. I am joined by metaphysical counsellor Luca Occelli from Italy. Luca, you are most welcome today.
Hello, Evelyn. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining me here today. So the name of this show is called Effortless Attraction. And today I would like to talk about effortless change. And I know that's why a lot of people come to you, or people that you work with, is because they're perhaps seeking change, wanting change, and in our own lives as well. We have had many an experience and where change happens. So do you believe that change is effortless, or it requires some effort?
Good question. I think it depends. Sometimes it can be effortless or almost effortless, and sometimes it can require quite a bit of effort. I think it depends. There isn't one for all. What I would say, though, is that even when effort is required and we need to work to create the change, it does pay back. With time, what it's an effort at the beginning, it becomes easier with time. It's a little bit like, let's say, learning how to ride a bicycle or learning how to write and read. Do you remember at the beginning, we had to write all the letters many times, and it was a big effort, but then it does become effortless. Mm-hmm. And other times, I think life just has, we just change and we don't even realize we're changing. It is effortless. We look back and we realize how much we have changed, and we didn't even put much effort into it.
Yeah, and you just said about learning, how to ride a bike and things like that. With age, with kids, they don't really see it as change. They see it as, I want to do this. I want to ride my bike. I want to learn how to do this. So we see it as growth and all the wonderful things that learning how to ride a bike will, the freedom that takes in. What do you believe about age? Do we become conditioned into fearing change in ourselves?
Yes, thank you. You've touched upon something extremely, extremely important. As you said, it is a concept that we have that change is it's something that either we can do or we should do, but it's not a playful thing anymore. And even if we even categorize it as something which is changed, when kids just do it, just learn, they're curious, they do everything with enthusiasm, and they probably don't even ask themselves, does this mean that I'm changing something or I am learning something? And we can, and well, I know you, so I know you are very capable of keeping that enthusiasm, that childlike zest and love for life in everything you do. And that is possible at any age. I believe that is the power of the essence, I call it, which is the soul, the true spirit, the divinity in us. And yes, I think it's ageless. And it's a myth. Yes, it's a myth that at some point in our life, we lose it. Yes.
Yeah, the imagination. It's a wonderful thing. And as you had said or reflected it on to me, the enthusiasm, we could class it as drive, passion.
Yeah.
I would be extremely bored if I did not change. I love learning things. I love getting curious and why not try it out? Because I certainly know from my own life, when I decide to change, and it's not even with force, it's because I want to, or I get to learn something that I'm joyful about, but I see the changes that it brings on my outside, in my reality. There was I think a phrase that Joe Dispenza had said, it is our personality that creates our reality. What's your thoughts on
Yeah,
that, Luca?
I do totally agree. I totally agree. In fact, everything normally starts with a thought, and then a thought becomes a word, and then a word becomes an action. Then an action becomes an habit, and then habits creates our characters, and our characters becomes our destiny. And all we have to do really is to change our thoughts, and because our thoughts, our habitual thoughts and beliefs, they create our personality, and that's the filter. That's what filters everything. The outside world, it's neutral, it's objective, it's not subjective. But each one of us filters it through his or her personality, and we perceive things differently. And yes, I do totally agree with what Joe Dispenza says. And the good news is that we can change. We can change the way we look at things. We can change the way we think. And yes, that may require effort sometimes until everything becomes effortless. It becomes easier and easier and easier with time.
Yeah. It's a bit like, as you talked about the essence there, the childlike state, we tend to then reverse cycle, even though we're in adult bodies, but our mind becomes that which it started off or began with, and the essence of our existence here. So here's the big question, really, too. And how I see life, and I'm sure many others do as well, that it is my thoughts, it is my words, it's my actions that create my reality. It is not my reality that is making me think like this, that is making me feel like this. I can choose it to be that way, but then I be a victim. As you had said one day, we can either believe that life is for you or life's against you, and how you tend to perceive life. And that's why, for me, it's extremely important that I am very mindful of my thoughts, because I know I'm a powerful creator, as are we all. We're like magnets. Whatever we put out, our reality shows up as that. What do you
Yeah.
think of that?
Yes, again, it is the way you just explained it. You explained it perfectly. It's an old myth, it's an old belief that we see things and then we believe according to what we believe. When in actuality, what we believe, then we see. We create our own reality according to our own beliefs. That's how it works, not the other way around. And but the problem is that, and I used to think that, I used to believe and think that the way I see things, that's the reality, and then I create my own opinion based on reality. But then I realized that the reality that I see outside is already conditioned by my deep innermost beliefs. And unfortunately, the worldwide beliefs that humankind has about life, it's still on the negative side, I would say. We still believe in negativity, we still believe in suffering, in pain, in hardships. And if we were opening ourselves up, and you have and I have, to the possibility, which I truly believe it's a reality, that life is perfect as it is. Everything, like you said, is not against us, but it's for us, and life flows through us. Everything changes. When we open ourselves up to that possibility, then we see reality in a different way. And that's what the magic is. We only have to change something, a belief inside of ourselves, for the outside reality to change. And to me, that is the ultimate freedom.
Yeah. And there's a phrase that I often hear people talk about, especially when they ask, what type of work that I do. And I'm sure you've heard it yourself. And a reply normally that I would get from people, but that's not reality. You see, we all have our own reality. My reality, your reality, the woman down the road, the man. We don't have the same reality, but for some reason we all believe that this is, my reality should be everybody's reality. So if you were to if I had a miserable day, if I've had a miserable past, and I can't get beyond that. And I keep taking my past with me, and my thoughts and my words and my feelings and my emotion, everything. And you come along and you tell me this amazing thing and things that are great and all. I would say, Luca, that's not reality, because it's not my reality, because
Yes.
I can't get out of those past experiences that have happened to me. I'm going to relate a story that I had heard of a lady who has been sleeping on her sofa, her couch in the living room for a number of years. And the reason why she decided to do that is because I think she had been in a relationship where she had abuse. Now, that relationship no longer exists. That man is no longer there, but that fear is still in her because she associates it with a bed. Now, she's tried for years now, she has been sleeping on the sofa. And when I heard this story, number one, we can have empathy to someone's experience and the suffering that they have come through, and the turmoil and the torture and the fear that that has endured on the body and the mind. But what I become more fearful when I hear stories about that people are very unaware of the powerful attractors that they all are. The more that we live in that constant state of fear of the past emotions, the bigger the chance we are going to attract it back into our life. Now, whether that's in a human form again, or we are torturing ourselves, we are the abuser. We are also the victim when we live in those states. I'm sure you've had people, Luca, that come to you that have lived and have been in a state of fear in the past. What would your advice be to someone to say, look, how do I shift past this? I do want to change my life. I don't want to feel like this anymore. What can I
Yes.
do?
Yes. I would explain to them what you have just said. I would have them to consider that we do it all to ourselves, that we are not victims of outside circumstances or other people. We are only always victims of our own perception, on our judgments, or on our attachment to, like this lady, to her memories. And when we learn to let go and free ourselves from this attachment, from these beliefs, these memories, and when we start to truly be present and learn how to listen and to look at reality, what is in front of us, without judgment, just feeling what is there. And then we start learning how to discern, meaning how to see what resonates with us and what we like and what we don't like. But it's different than judging something and saying, oh, this is good or this is bad. So I would explain all this to them, and then I would invite them through developing presence, to connect with their essence, like that we mentioned before. And also, I'd like to also connect this with something you said before, which is extremely important. Again, it is not about learning so much about learning and changing, as much as getting rid of the mental conditioning and to create space for our essence, our childlike nature to surface. And then when we do that, everything becomes easier, effortless, because we allow life itself to carry us.
Mm. I think I saw something there which I loved. And when we talk about law of attraction, what you have relevance of what you've been speaking about there too, Luca, you know, when people are looking to create certain experiences into their lives, or certain feelings, that I want love in my life, that I want peace in my life, you know, the words were, and I thought, how true, because this is the way that it works. I asked for love in my life, so therefore I was gifted with turmoil. So sometimes what is presented to us, you'll say, hold on a minute, I've been asking for love and I'm getting all this. How do I show love now? What would love do in this? If I have asked for peace in my life, and you have chaos and madness, you know, everything's so busy around you, what would peace do now? So that's how we find that, as you say, is that essence, is the innerness, rather than waiting on it to show up. This is how I learned to be it. And then we start to create all of that in our life. And I didn't want to stray too far off, but you just reminded me of that saying, when people have asked for one thing and something else showed up, but then is how I perceive that. Now is my opportunity to create peace. Now is my opportunity to show love. Now is my opportunity to show healing. And all of the things that we be asked for are presented to us, but not for sometimes in the human senses, where we expect there's the roses and the flowers and the perfumes. There's the the fluffy bunnies. There's all these things showing up in our lives. Luca, for yourself, your past. Now we're talking about change. We wanted to do this because everybody goes through experiences in their life. A master manifester, as we all call ourselves, everyone has a capability. Everyone is this, that we are the ones that attract people and situations, experiences into our life. When you are at a place where you think, oh, I don't need to change, maybe everybody else needs to change, what was happening in your life?
When I didn't want to change, and I thought other people wanted to change, it had needed to change.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was in my life. I was in mega turmoil. My head was filled with judgment about myself, judgment about others, judgment about life, and I was too busy trying to make sense of all these inner voices, negative inner voices. That's what was happening in my life, and because of that, I didn't want to change. And yes, I did think that if anybody had to change, it was other people, because I was totally unconscious of what was going on inside and around me.
Mm-hmm. And what was the moment for you? Do you think, I'm done with this? I ain't doing this no more.
It was when 6 years after the death of my mom, she died. I was 25, and at the time I used to have a very unhealthy life. I used to take lots of drugs. I used to drink a lot. So 2 weeks after I'd been run over by a car, one evening, it was 8 o'clock. I hadn't drank yet. I hadn't taken any drugs. A man that I didn't know, that didn't know me, approached me in a bar in central London. He told me, listen, I have to tell you something. I am a medium. There is someone here, could be your mom. She wants me to tell you that she's absolutely fine. She would come down to help you in a second, like she's always done. But it's time for you to change your lifestyle and to take responsibility of your life. And be careful from today up to the next 2 weeks, not to drink and drive, and not to get into cars with people that have been drinking. I haven't seen that guy since. He didn't ask me for money. That encounter changed my life. I literally chose to believe that maybe he was telling me the truth, and maybe there was a reality, unseen reality, a spiritual reality that I wasn't aware of, that death didn't really exist. And then I looked up and I went, okay, life, if I want to change, help me out. And I stopped taking drugs because I started feeling much better than if I had taken drugs. And then I realized the power of thinking, the power of mind, and the power of life that sustain us. And then this was like 20 years ago. And then I started my journey of self-discovery, so to speak.
Self-discovery rather than the old self-sabotage. But isn't it a wonderful thing? Because I'm quite sure, previous probably to that man showing up in your life, there was questions. Are we at, sometimes if we believe or don't believe that there's something greater than us, or that we're part of something that is great, this divine energy, and we ask, help me, I need help. Please someone come help me. And there could be, I've had so many messages from people say, I was in the bookshop and your book fell off the shelf. These things random.
Yes.
I heard your name mentioned on the radio and I looked you. So our questions are always answered, our doubts, our fears, but again, how we choose to see. But those things, I love these stories of how people cross our paths when the time is ready. As they always say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And you have then gone on then through your transformation, Luca, and we're always learning and always growing. It's not that we ever cease to be. But as you also say, it becomes effortless to change, and it becomes your state of being, because I believe that's what we always were anyway. It's just that we got conditioned by life, and we're here to enjoy life and experience life. But you now have gone on to serve and help many through your transition, and help them then in when they decide they want change.
Yes. Yes. And as you say, it's just a matter of rediscovering who we truly are.
Yeah. So Luca, tell me, if someone wants to work with you, reach out for you. You've talked about family constellations. Give me a bit of information about that.
Yes, family constellation. It's a methodology, you could call it, a therapeutic intervention that takes into consideration that the person, it's part of a system, and the nearest system to the person is the family. And so it takes into consideration what are called hidden loyalties, meaning sometimes people want to really improve their life. Maybe they do everything they can, but it's something they are still facing some blocks, some obstacles that they can't get rid of. And family constellations allows us to realize what is holding them back. Maybe there's an hidden loyalties, maybe because the children would do everything for their parents. So sometimes, to give an example, in a family where one or both parents were not successful, the kids would have said at a very young age, just like you, mom or dad, to show you how much I love you, I will be just as poor as you, or I'll be unhealthy or whatever else. And I won't allow myself to be more than what you were. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but this is just an example. There's many other kind of dynamics going on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And Luca, and if someone wants to reach out to you, I know you're on Facebook, and it's Occelli, Occelli, Luca.
Yes, it is.
And your website, you can give us your details there, far away.
Sure. My website is www.lucaoccelli.com. And or they can find me on my Facebook page, Luca Occelli, or you can get me on my telephone, and my number is 07802 308 289.
Well, Luca, thank you so much for being on Effortless Attraction today. And it's effortless how our paths cross. And I do believe, and for anyone that's listening, change is possible. And when you do decide for the better, we can change either way. But if you want greater life experiences, if you want a more abundant lifestyle, and that's not only financially, but just to be able to see, to feel, to witness, to experience life completely different. It's all possible. And we'll have the likes of our fabulous Luca here that can assist and guide you if you'd like to reach out. Luca, thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. And thank you, everybody, for listening.